In today's video, we will talk about the best 5 watches you can buy under 10,000 US dollars. Let's get into it. Hey and welcome to Uber Wrists, where we say we're seeking quality time. In today's video, we will talk about the best watches you can get under 10,000 US dollars. And 10,000 US dollars, let's be honest here, you're slowly moving to the big leagues. So it's going to be quite interesting to see what type of watch you can get with this type of budget. Brand wise, you can already see we're slowly moving to the heavy hitters here. You're seeing the Rolexes and the other stuff. It is not enough for the really big leagues. You're really getting into a serious area of interesting watch right here. On today's video, we will make a mixture of the list price as well as the secondary market price, because some of these watches might be hard to get, but you will see that when we talk about them. So let's start with the first one, the GLC Master Ultra Thin, the Jaeger-LeCoultre. Difficult name, but very important watch, very interesting watch, because a GLC is actually the watchmaker's watchmaker, as we like to call them. They were actually in charge of producing the caliber for the Audemars Piguet Royal Oak back in the 70s. So that part, that little part that made the Royal Oak possible, kind of the base of the Royal Oak, was actually produced by Jaeger-LeCoultre. Now we are talking about a different type of watch, more a dressed watch if you want. There's also a different variation of this with the moon phase calendar as well. But this one is a really interesting dress watch because you can essentially combine it with different straps as well and make it really look through. It comes in 4 different colors actually. We have a different combination. We have a different combination for everyone. We actually have the black dial on stainless steel. We have the blue on stainless steel. We have the white dial and stainless steel, and we have a rose gold variant as well. But keep in mind, the rose gold is a bit more on the expensive side, so that will definitely be above the 10k USD. Next up, we have the Omega Globe Master, Omega's essential answer to the Rolex Datejust, and quite an interesting watch here as well. As you can see from the form factor, it looks like a dress watch, but you can actually also kind of use it as a sports watch. It only comes with the leather strap, so it is more on the dressier side, but in my opinion, an excellent watch you can also dress up and down. Comes with a handy date function on the 6 o'clock time, so quite interesting, especially if you are looking for a watch that is bringing a bit more to the table, very similar to the JLC. Now the cool thing about the Globemaster is also they just released the different colorways, so you can actually get it in the different colors if you want, be it in blue, red or green, for example, if you prefer a bit more dress watch on the colorful side. Now again, here as well, we have a rose gold variant for those who prefer that, but again, it is a bit more expensive. So if you want to stay within the stainless steel, you're definitely staying under the 10k USD budget. It comes with a 39mm case, and it is master chronometer certified. So it's not like the Rolex watches, the COSC certified, it's the master chronometer certified. But since it's Omega, you can absolutely be sure that this watch is actually worth its money and definitely punctual. Next up, we have the Rolex Submariner, aka the James Bond under the watches. Now, of course, James Bond is the reference also to the James Bond movies, where the James Bond character was actually also rocking Rolex Submariner back in the 50s and 60s. Nowadays, obviously, James Bond is rocking the Omega, but I would say the Rolex Submariner still has a very special place in our hearts. Now, it comes with a 41mm case, which is a bit bulkier than the original Submariner, which was more in the 40mm range. So if you're looking for the more, let's say, vintage size, I don't want to really call it vintage because it's only about 10 or 12 years ago since you were able to actually buy it in the smaller size variant, but since then it has moved to this 41 bit bulkier case. But if you prefer, actually, again, you can find a lot of different watches on the secondary when it comes to the Rolex Submariner. Now the new Submariner is actually priced at around $8,500 US, but this is retail price. So list price will be quite difficult for you to get if you don't have any connection to the AD. But again, it might be the connection builder, especially if you're looking for a stainless steel Rolex Submariner. Now the Submariner has a special kind of place around the world because it is one of the most recognizable watch designs around there. So you can probably get around 5 to 10k USD almost anywhere in the world because people do recognize the Rolex Submariner. Now it usually comes in a stainless steel variant, but you can also get it with a bicolor variants as well, or gold variants, depending on your budget, of course. Now the cheapest one, definitely the stainless steel variant. We also have some colorful variants such as the Hulk, for example, or a very similar looking GMT2, for example. The GMT2 Master looks similar for the untrained eye, but obviously has also a GMT function. The Submariner is a bit over 50 years old, kind of as a concept, was released in 1953 and has since kind of dominated the watch market. Liking what you see so far, make sure that you're subscribed to the Uber Wrists newsletter. The link is below, so that you don't miss any interesting watch content out there that we're compiling for you in the newsletter. Now, next up, talking about Rolex, let's also talk about the Datejust, because the Datejust is actually, in my opinion, even the more recognizable Rolex design out there. Was kind of first invented in 1945, one of the dressiest watches you can wear, but with a Jubilee or the Oyster bracelet, you can also kind of dress it up and down. So it works perfectly fine as a dress watch, but also perfectly fine as a sports watch. One of the few watches, in my opinion, that can go kind of both ways. And the Rolex Datejust usually comes in a 36mm case, kind of original size, but the newer ones also come with a 41mm size. Now the 36mm size are actually definitely under 10k USD that you can buy. The 41mm are a bit more on the expensive side, especially if you're looking for special dial variants. The Datejust comes with different dial variants, as I've mentioned, more colorful, for example, but also kind of a more topic related. You can also get them in bicolor, so dual color if you want, with some gold sprinkled in there. Obviously will be a bit more expensive. The cool thing about the Datejust again is you can find a lot of vintage pieces on the secondary market for actually much cheaper than 10k. Between 3,000 to 5,000 USD is actually a fair price point that you can get for the Rolex Datejust. If you don't have any connection to the AD, it is actually a great relationship builder out there. So if you're looking to buy a Rolex Datejust, make sure that you're buying it from an AD or from a Rolex store around the world. Now moving on, we should talk about the little brother, about the Tudor, and here specifically about the Tudor Black Bay Chrono, which we actually picked because it's a great variant on the Daytona as well. One of the most kind of used and kind of heavily priced watches out there. The Tudor Black Bay Chrono, though, looks very similar, has similar functionality, but is much cheaper, of course. Now, Tudor has been founded by the same guy that founded Rolex, has used the similar parts, and since then has moved on into his kind of different niche, again producing a lot of quality watches. And especially for those people who cannot get the Rolex watches, the Tudor watches are actually a quite kind of a good exchange in there. Now, Tudor has been doing a lot of great things in the past, especially these last couple of years. The Pelagos, the Black Bay, the Ranger line, all of these kind of sub-lines in the Tudor watch line, in the sports watch line, if you will, have been super successful for Tudor as well. They come with their own in-house movements, which are super precise. So definitely a great watch for a kind of introductory 10k USD price point. Most of these watches usually come between 5 to 6k, especially the Black Bay Chrono that we've selected, for example, is around 5.1k USD, and you can pretty much get it anywhere at every AD. If you wait a little bit, and on the secondary market it's almost the same price, so great bang for the buck when it comes to the watches. They are a bit bigger though, so with 41mm sizes they might wear a bit bigger than the for example the more vintage Rolex Submariners, but still great size, works perfectly. It comes with a stainless steel clasp and strap as well, or you can get it on a fabric strap depending on how you wish to use the Tudor. Again, their in-house movements make them an actual contender with the other watch brands. Quite an interesting watch brand to look out for under 10k USD. So that brings us to the end of the video. If you've enjoyed our selection of the 5 watches under 10,000 USD, make sure that you're kind of subscribed to this channel, that you like the video, and leave us a comment down below. What watch would you prefer under 10k USD? Would be quite interested to read that as well. And again, make sure that you subscribe to the Uberwrist watch newsletter, where we compile everything that's interesting around watches. I will see you on the next one. Have a good one.